Hello and welcome to our third Sony Vegas editing tutorial. Today we'll be going over all the different types of masking. So that's masking in the crop menu and green screening. We'll also be going over a few of the cool effects that go along with masking. Okay, so the first thing we're going to want to do is get some footage. So I'm going to go over to my documents here, and I've got just some stock footage of some birds on a green screen. So I'm going to drag that straight into my timeline because I know I want the whole thing. Okay, so the easiest way to do a mask is if you've got a green screen, put something in front of it and then use the chroma key effect to get rid of the green. So the way you chroma key something is by going just here on the clip. You'll notice below the crop button there's another little button called Event Effects. So by clicking on that, all your video event effects appear in a list. As you notice, there's a very long list of effects you can add. The one we're looking for today is chroma key. So click it, select OK, and you'll notice a effects menu comes up. The chroma key comes with several default settings: blue screen, green screen, pure red, pure green, and pure blue screen. So I'm just going to select the pure green screen, and you'll notice that the green magically disappears off behind the birds. You can use the low threshold and high threshold toggles here to get your exact desired effect if your screen is not pure green. But luckily mine is, so the green is completely disappeared. So if you close that, it automatically saves. Now what we're going to want to do is put something behind the birds. So, like in the last tutorial, right click on the video track and insert a new video track. Drag it and put it below the birds. So back up here in my documents, I'm going to select an image to put behind the birds. I've got a picture of the Australian flag, which I'm going to put behind the birds. You'll notice that the image is a lot shorter than the bird track, so just stretch it out so it matches the bird's track. You notice the birds fly across the flag. One thing you will notice, there's a slightly darker area around the flag. It does look a bit ugly, and this is because the mask isn't quite perfect. You'll notice that when it was just the bird's track, like this, it looked perfect because you couldn't see that dark box. So go back into the event effects menu by clicking on that little button again, and using the low threshold, because it's the darker area, scroll up a little bit until that black box disappears, like that. So there's that done. You'll notice that it's quite hard to see the birds against the flag. One way you can make them a little clearer is give them a shadow, so that makes them pop out in front of the flag. To do this, we go to the track motion button, which we went over briefly in the last tutorial. So click on that, and it brings you to this menu here. If you go down to your timeline down the bottom, you'll notice there's 3 timelines: the position, 2D shadow, and 2D glow. For today's tutorial, we'll be using the 2D shadow. So select the box next to 2D shadow. This enables that layer. Make sure it is selected, otherwise nothing will happen. You'll notice now on your screen you have 2 boxes. So by moving the blue box, you'll notice there's a slight shadow behind the birds, and it moves around with this. So by grabbing that and putting the shadow where you want it, I'm going to put it slightly below to the left of the birds, you can stick it where you want. Over here on the left, we've got all our options for the shadow and its position. So we've got the position, orientation, rotation, and of course the color and intensity of the color. So I'm going to reduce the blur to about 2 and bump up the intensity a bit so it becomes a little bit clearer, the shadow. Maybe the blur at about 3. So you'll notice now that the birds have a shadow. Now you can see them a little better against the flag. So play that and the shadow follows the birds, which is quite nice. So that's one form of masking using a green screen. You can do this using a blue screen or a red screen, and if you do have some footage you can also do it with the sky, because that is often a pure blue. So you can mask out the sky and stuff like that. The other way you can do a mask, it's a little bit more tedious, especially if you've got a moving track and not just a picture. So for this I've got a picture of a lion. You could chroma key this because the sky is a blue. You could, but there is a second way to create a mask, and that is back in the event pan crop menu. You'll notice that there were 2 timelines down here, position, and one under it, mask. So by clicking enable on the mask, we'll need to make the box a bit bigger and scroll in on the line. To move around in the mask menu, selecting control on your keyboard, you'll notice that your mouse changed to the little hand symbol. This is the pan symbol, so we can pan around with the image and make the line in the middle. Okay, the way we create a mask is make sure the anchor creation tool, which is up here on the left, is selected. If you've used Photoshop before, it's a lot like the lasso tool, except it's not, well, you don't have a magnetic lasso tool. But the way this works is by clicking around the image and creating anchor points. So each time you click, you create an anchor point. So by going around the image like this is slow and tedious, like I said, and if you want it to look good, you'll need to take lots of care, not like I'm doing, and scrolling in and out of the image to make sure you get a perfect mask. You can create curves if you've got a curve by clicking your anchor point and clicking and then dragging up and down the secondary anchors to create a curve like that. And then once I've joined everything back up, you'll notice that the line has been masked out, well, messy, but you get the idea. Say I didn't want the lion, but I wanted the sky instead. Over here on the left, with all my options, position, path and workspace, the mode under path is selected on positive. If I wanted the sky, I'd select negative, and you'll notice that there's no lion and just the sky. But, well, I want the lion and I've selected positive. So I'm also going to extend the flag out so it's underneath, and you get an idea of what the mask is like. I'm going to insert another video track on top of that, insert video track and put the lion on the new video track. Say we wanted to make the masked image glow. We need to go back to our track motion menu here, and the one below 2D shadow, which is 2D glow, select that one. You'll notice that a glow appears around your mask. You can also do this with the chroma keyer, and same as the shadow you can do with a mask in the crop menu. So I'm going to change the color to red because I like red, and I'm going to decrease the blur and increase the intensity to make it a little more solid. Once again with the 2D glow, you can also turn it into a shadow like that as well if you wanted to. The idea of it is just to make the image glow, but you can move that around and put the glow wherever you want, like so, just by moving that around. Once again, you've got your keyframes. They're in the bottom layer here, so you can keyframe that around if you desire. So there's some basics for masking. Masking does appear in a few of the other effects, such as the color correction tool, which we'll do a bit of just now. So I'm just going to grab this image here and go back into the effects menu. So for the masking in a color corrector, just make sure you select the secondary color corrector and go OK. The color correction tool corrects colors, and you can also do some cool funky things with it. The effect I'm about to demonstrate is called the Sin City effect. You've probably seen it, where a color is selected. In this image it'll be yellow, and every other color is in black and white or grayscale, and only one color is in color. So for this, I'm going to get this dropper tool just here next to a select effect range and click on the lemon, which is yellow. Back up the top here, I'm going to grab the saturation and drag it all the way back to 0. I'm going then to, down here, invert mask. The color corrector creates a mask based on color, so it's once again another type of mask. So by inverting that, everything is now black and white. You'll notice there's a few dapples of yellow on the lemon. So down here we've got our limit saturation, limit hue, and limit luminance. So with the limit saturation, we're going to drag the low down to low and the high to high. Same with the luminance, low to low and high to high. You'll notice that the majority of the lemon is now yellow, but there's still some grey areas on it. So down here with the limit hue, we're going to drag the width up until those grey areas on the lemon disappear. You'll notice now that everything is black and white except for the lemon. So that's another type of mask, is in the video effects. So that's pretty much it for your masks. We've got our green screen, our mask in the crop menu, and our color corrector mask. So once again, thank you. I'll see you next time.